It's time to show me your back end on the Build Big Biz Google Hangout and YouTube channel. Each week on Show Me Your Back End, marketing expert and author Steve Rosenbaum uncovers simple strategies designed for business owners to quickly improve their sales and profitability. Show Me Your Back End is brought to you by Zapowie. And now, here's our host, the original back-end specialist, Steve Rosenbaum. Hooray! The sound effects aren't on right now, so there we go. There we go.
We're on our own for sound effects too, huh? Nothing's working on the Hangouts today.
Well, specific to the Hangout toolbox, I think they're adding some stuff or changing some stuff, but it's just not here in the toolbox. We'd have to turn on the Google effects, and I mean, who wants to do that, right?
Absolutely. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm Steve Rosenbaum. You are watching Show Me Your Back End, part of the Build Big Biz channel. We got a great show today. We're going to talk about list building. Got some experts here today, but I also have a very special guest that I want to introduce. I've got a visitor actually in the Zapowie World Headquarters right now. Come on and say hello. See if this guy looks familiar.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Does this guy look familiar?
A little high there.
There we
Good
go.
afternoon.
This is my father visiting from Chicago, Bob Rosenbaum, and he's a visitor, I mean a watcher, a viewer of Show Me Your Back End every single week. So it's kind of cool that he gets to be here. But he's been here watching every single show, and you know, Zane, we should have a contest for people that want to be part of the studio audience.
Yeah, we should. We should.
Bob is the first winner, and if you'd like to be next, all you have to do is put in a message on Facebook that says you're watching Show Me Your Back End with the hashtag Smibey, right? And,
There you go.
And watch your email inbox, and we'll let you know if you win the all-expense-paid trip to Austin, Texas, to the Zapowie World Headquarters to be part of the live audience. But don't hold your breath. All right, all right. Hey, we've got on the expert panel with us today are Dail Wagner from Australia. Everybody knows Dail. Dail, how you doing?
Hi, Steve. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here, and hopefully we can give you some great content tonight. So I say tonight, but I'm 5 a.m. in the morning, so yeah.
It's tonight somewhere. Look at that overlay you got. That is very cool, Dail. Way to go.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's pretty slick.
That's pretty slick. And then we have Dr. Keith Shaffer from the D.C. area. How are you, Dr. Keith?
I'm doing fabulous, Steve. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. Another certified back-end specialist and a multi-talented guy. We could have 17 shows, Dr. Keith, just doing all the stuff that you're an expert at. Right? Magician, hypnotherapy, NLP, and I know it goes on and on and on and on and on.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that, the master of all.
And then we've got our globetrotter, Zane Miller. Zane, where are you today? Which hotel are you bracing us from this time?
Yeah, so this is the Holiday Inn Express because I did some searching around, found out that they're the only ones that have a reliable plug-into-the-wall Ethernet cable connection to make sure that Hangouts like this run nice and smooth, because wireless connection's not as reliable, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get lost off into the weeds, but the place that I'm looking at, there's a sign. It's called Ozona, O-Z-O-N-A. It's just some boondock town.
In Texas.
Yeah, in Texas. Yeah, I got Subway last night, and they said we almost sold 300 sandwiches today. It was crazy. Yeah, that's small.
Wow.
But also, of course, we want to move forward into the different segments here because we got some great content. But I want to encourage everybody to leave a comment. Those of you who are watching live, either here or here. We've already got a couple already from Patricia and Jason. Welcome, guys, to the show, and thank you for commenting. Of course, add your questions. We want to get some feedback from you. Share the show. Now you can do it also live on the YouTube channel or through Twitter, hashtag SMYBE. We also say Smibey. And yeah, share with your friends and have them check out the show. And we'll leave it with that. Steve, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, we're going to do that. I'm going to start with, I want to show my screen top here of my PowerPoint. You know, Zane, one of these days I have to find out if it's possible to show this in the large mode. on a PowerPoint, but we'll just do it this way.
See, yeah, that's why I'm thinking you should rock out that second monitor, man. I think it'll really help, because there is a way. It is possible, and I think Harold knows. So
okay, well there you go. We'll do it this way for now.
Yeah.
That would. You're right. That would be a lot better, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Let me check it out on the YouTube side of things. Patricia, Jason, anybody who's watching, can you guys see this all right in the view that you're watching on YouTube? We want to make sure that during the live version as well as the replay, everything looks clear. So drop us a comment. Go ahead and start, Steve, and if we need to zoom in a little bit more, we'll ask you.
Okay. So, list building is what we're going to be talking about today, and it's so important. We talk all the time about the importance of capturing people and putting them into your back end. So I know even, and Dail came prepared also, and I'm going to let him kick this off, because Dail, you're prepared to tell us about some of the important concepts. When you're working with your clients in Australia, is it any different in terms of list building in Australia? Unmute yourself, Dail.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, look, in Australia, we're probably a little bit behind in list building when it comes to local businesses or small brick and mortar businesses. In the internet marketing world, yes, the list building is I would say the same as America, but local businesses really haven't been taught. They don't understand the importance of being able to communicate with their customers via email or by some electronic form, right? They seem to want to go for the new customer all the time, rather than trying to market to their existing database, right? And everyone knows the existing database is where you'll make 80% of your money.
It's funny because you say it's different in Australia, and you guys are probably a little bit behind. And I guess everybody feels like the toughest market is the market that they're in. But that's the same way here. When they do those types of surveys, and the statistics show that 68%, according to marketingexperiments.com, are that way. They don't have their back end in place. They don't have a funnel, or they don't market to their past customers. So in reality, what you may be seeing in Australia is very much the same here.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
I had a client or a customer back about 4 years ago. I mentored them in their new enterprise. It was a jewellery shop. Now, it was a jewellery shop which was selling the zirconias, right, which are the lookalike diamonds, right? And they had a massive business, right, which they went into a new shopping centre, right? They went in, and I tried to I put all of the accounting software in, all of the point of sale equipment in, and set them up. I tried to give them advice as to recording of every customer that came in. They said, no, we're too busy, we don't have time to do that. So I gave them a way of doing it, right, which they didn't take on board. Okay. 2 years later, the same business, they then had to start spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on marketing to the local community in the local newspapers, on the local radio, to get customers into their business. And they then realized that they should have listened and started taking the customer details and marketing to these people when a new product came out, was to market to these people, right? So if they were silver people or gold people, they could just straight away email or drop a letter to these people.
No, that's a really good point. And I don't know if you've heard the phrase, advertising is what people pay for when they can't be creative. So
yes,
very good points.
And Dail, with that, and I want to move into your list, because you brought 4 or 5 bullet points. You're making excellent points. Tell us about what it is. What's on your list, and what makes effective list building?
Well, see, list building is important, right? The first thing I think is the most important thing It's a way of communicating with customers. It's a way to introduce new opportunities to your customers, new products, product reviews, new trading hours for your business, right? Special pricing that you have on new stuff. It's a way to communicate electronically very fast without any cost or limited cost, right? If you're using the email side of things, there are other methods of communicating, right? You can fax, or you can use short message texting, SMS texting, right? As a way to do it. You can use mobile apps and use push marketing, but these are all part of list building, right? To keep the main thing is to keep a record of your customers in an electronic form, and being able to broadcast to these people on a regular basis, right? So that's the most important thing, in relation to list building. The benefits: low cost, quick to implement, is probably the most beneficial feature. Is the being able to get information out fast, right? Now, the types of delivery methods that can be used once you have your list would be email, SMS broadcasting, push messaging, Facebook. If you've got a good community in Facebook, you can broadcast to these people, right? Now, we say, well, how do we get people on the list? That is, that's the big one, right? Where you've got to be a little bit creative, right? So if you're a brick and mortar business, you can't necessarily get that information at the time, because it's going to slow up all the rest of the customers, right? So an example to get this information is to have a card system where you just record their telephone, their name, right, at the point of sale, right? So you can record it into your accounting system, or you can have a full card system where you don't record anything at the time of sale and you can record it later, right? Or you can have some electronic device at your point of sale where people can fill the information out on an iPad or a PC, right? But you've got to give them an incentive to do that if you're going to go down that track.
I want to give a couple examples here also, and let me bring my screen up here as well. You bring up some excellent points. There's so many different ways to build a list, and I've created some examples that I want to show that are more web-based, and because we want to automate this as much as possible. And from there, we will also show some ideas of how you can get people into that list from even from a brick and mortar business utilizing technology. But let's start with what's probably the most common, okay? And actually the most common is nothing, okay? Most businesses have zero. But from there, let's go to what we call just an opt-in page or a squeeze page.
Can you zoom in a little bit on this?
Yeah, let's see if
there's a little bit more data, so the
how's that look?
Text is a little, yeah.
Is that
much better? Much better, yes.
Okay. And we're really interested in the 30,000-foot view here, but thanks, Zane, for letting me know about that. All right. Now, so this is from my website, it's zapowie.com, from our company website. And I actually picked this page for a reason. This is a page, and the web address here, and Zane, make a note of this. Let's put this web address for this page in the notes to the page, or maybe in the chat box. But okay. You find this at zapowie.com/Jonathan, Jonathan. You're going to want to go and listen to the audio on this page afterwards, because it tells about a Facebook nightmare story and why you want to capture people from social media and bring them to your list. But we'll come back to that. What I want you to focus about instead is on the right side here, where I have what's called an opt-in box. And when you have an opt-in box, you want to give away something of value. In this case, I'm going to call it an info widget. It's a report This one is a free white paper about Facebook marketing. Notice, the page is about a Facebook nightmare story, and the report, okay, is also about Facebook marketing. So it helps your opt-ins when your opt-in is related to the content on the page. And there's a lot of programs out there these days that will allow you to put different opt-in boxes on different pages. In fact, you can just flat out do it with WordPress. So it's a great idea to tie in your report with the content of the page. So this is a simple opt-in page, and it's tied into an email marketing program. I use OfficeAutopilot.com or Office Autopilot, which you can get at OfficeAutopilot.com. And when somebody comes here, if they want to know more about the Facebook marketing, they're going to fill out the form. And of course, you know that I've got a back end behind that. As soon as they do that, my back end is going to deliver them the report and then engage them in a series of messages. Now, by doing this, over time, your list builds and builds and builds. Now, another little bit more sophisticated way that we can do this, and this is called a pop-in box, a pop-up box. Notice I've also given a report here, and this is a different report. This one's called the money's in the back end. And what happens when you go to this website, the visitor sees the website, and then after a certain amount of time, usually 3 to 4 seconds, you can usually define this, this box pops up. And notice how everything behind it is now dimmed out. And it's on top of it, and it's called a pop-up box. And pop-up boxes are very, very effective because they interrupt. It's a pattern interrupt. They get people's attention, and the people have to make a decision. They're either going to opt in, meaning fill out the report. Doing so, of course, gets them on your list, or they can click the X box here and close it, and that would bring it back to the page. Now, both Keith and Dail have this very pop-up box on their website. Keith, take a quick moment. I know you have studied list building under some other people as well. What are your thoughts about list building?
Well, list building is one of the highest return on investments that you can have as a business owner. And that box that you showed is actually also called a light box because it grayed out everything behind it, so it brought it to the front.
Yeah,
yeah, Kathy mentioned it too. Hey.
In fact, that particular pop-up allows you, if you're logged into Facebook, it'll let you use your Facebook login and just push one button on your Facebook account to use your Facebook login information, and that will import their email address from their Facebook account right into your list, which is exactly what you want to do. You can also, as Dail had previously mentioned, start an SMS list, which is the simple messaging system text messaging marketing. And you can do that at a business point of sale, in a restaurant, on a tabletop. You just send a text message to, either a short code or a long code, which is a full phone number. And you can get messages pushed out by SMS, and those have a 95% open rate within 5 minutes of a text message.
Exactly right. Hey, Zane, I want to go back and circle back and show a few things here, but how's the dialog box looking? Any questions?
Yeah, well, there was just that point that Kathy had made. She said that she was talking about thinking that it was called the light box.
Right.
But aside from that, everyone is happy with it. Everything seems to be displaying properly, but there are no questions so far.
Excellent. I want to show here, Keith brought up an excellent point, and let me bring that back up right here. First of all, we'll go back to my screen share. All right. Keith brought up an excellent point. We're using a plugin on this, and it's called Hybrid Connect. And Zane, we could put a link to Hybrid Connect also if you make a note. We'll put that in the
okay.
In Hybrid Connect. Yeah, the notes to the show also. Hybrid Connect is a WordPress plugin, and Dr. Keith was right. One of the cool things about Hybrid Connect, check this out, and I did this, Keith. I actually grabbed the screenshot of both of them. Watch watch this out. This is from the exact same website, and you see what it looks like right now, because right now, when I took this screenshot, I was not logged into Facebook. But had I had Facebook open, let's say in another browser tab or something like that, this opt-in box would look like this. You see the difference there? Right here? That's replaced with a button that says Connect with Facebook. Let me show you one more time. Watch this area right here and check that out. Before, we made them fill out the email address, okay? But if we were logged into Facebook, as a lot of people are nowadays logged into Facebook, it's replaced with this. Now, there's a lot of advantages to that. And this is one of the points I wanted to make. One of the cool new technology features today that we can do is to leverage the social media, in this case Facebook, and use an application to extract that email address out. There's a lot of reasons that's beneficial to do. Number one, for the trust factor. People figure if you're using Facebook, then it increases your credibility and your trust factor. And first of all, it does, because you can only do that if you do it the way Facebook prescribes you to do it. You have to use a third-party application, and that application has to be designed up to Facebook specifications, so people are right. There's more credibility to opting into a report that is like that, because by doing that, we have to acknowledge that we are going to follow Facebook's terms of service, or else Facebook's just going to shut us down. So there's a big downside to that. So there is credibility there, there is trust there, there's simplicity. You do not have to fill out the form. But here's probably the most important factor. You're getting the best email address most times. A lot of people have a lot of email addresses, and a lot of people have garbage email addresses or slush email. I've got one called junk, right? junk@steverosenbaum.com. That's what I use to sign up for things, right? How often do you think I'm checking junk@steverosenbaum.com?
Never.
Every day.
Right, okay. But Facebook makes me confirm my email address, and most people are using their primary email address. So, and we're pulling the name a lot of times too. We're pulling the name, and we're pulling a primary email address. So there's a lot of benefits to using an application to do that. So I'm really glad you brought that up, Keith, and I'm going to go on from there. I want to show you the next thing about this. Let me bring back my screen share.
And while you're doing that, Steve, by just making it one push button, you're lowering the barrier of entry to get onto your email list.
Exactly right. All right. There we go. Now beyond that, Facebook being a social media tool, right? A social media place. Now what we can do is we can start engaging people in very creative strategies to accomplish that same task. Here is a very cool way to build your list. And this is something that I put onto my client, Babalu, the cigar company. You know, I think we're 6 for 6. I don't think we've gone through a show yet, Zane, where we haven't given Babalu a free plug. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. Yeah. Oh!
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't think so either, but yeah, there we go. There it is, right?
All right, Zane, make another note to send Jeff his invoice.
Okay.
Right, okay.
To get a screenshot of that, too.
Yeah, excellent.
Have him comp us some cigars, Steve.
Yeah. You know what? We ought to have winners. That's what we should do. Zane, did you get a screenshot of the shirt?
Oh, well, I'll have to get it later because my hands were up. So.
Exactly. All right. But what I want to show you here, and I took this shot from the admin panel of the Facebook page for Babalu, because what we did here was we created an app right here, Win a Box of Cigars. And what that app does is when you click on it, it opens up and it invites you to play a scratch-off game. Okay, see that's depicted right here? Just like you're scratching off a lottery ticket, and to see if you can win a box of cigars. Well, what we do is we connect Facebook to the application. So if people want to play this game, if they want to try to win a box of cigars, if they want to see what it's like to play a scratch-off game on the computer, they have to go through our app, and in that process, we are capturing the contact information and putting it into, we're building our list. So I want to show you what that looks like.
Steve, real quick, we're getting a question asking about what that plugin was called again.
The plugin is called Hybrid Connect.
Hybrid Connect.
Right. Now we've got a link for it, and it's http://zaplink.us/hybrid connect. zaplink.us/hybrid connect.
Awesome. And Jason Smith has got a good point. That is some great advertising.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. All right. So going back to here, now I want to show you the results of this. Okay. Look at the results of this in so many ways. Above, hang on, I'm trying to get to the right place here. Okay, there we go. Folks, this is Babalu's Facebook engagement graph. Would you like to take a guess when we installed that application? That would be over here. Okay? Look at the engagement that that app created for his page.
Nice.
Okay? Now that's nice, right? That's nice. Now you want to see something else very cool? This is a snapshot from Jeff's Office Autopilot, okay? In 2 days, 102 new contacts, okay, captured from Facebook into his back end, into his marketing funnel. Now, the reason that's important also, besides making your list big, is if I go back here, when I told you the story about Jonathan, I want you to go there and I want you to listen to that interview. But what you're going to hear is that Jonathan had a Facebook group with 55,000 people on it. Okay, by the way, I just saw an article just yesterday that estimated that the value of a like on Facebook is $1.34. All right, that's a like. Now I'm going to go, so I would think that a group would be
$1.34?
$1.34, yes, per like.
Jeez.
All right. Now I'm going to say that I think a group is probably even bigger. I would think, just because there's more engagement than a group. But let's just go with that figure of $1.34. 55,000 people times $1.34. 73. $73,000. $73,700. Okay. So Jonathan's Facebook group was worth about $73,000. He woke up one morning and it was gone. All right. He had accidentally violated the terms of service unknowingly, and they shut it down. They didn't contact him. They didn't ask him. I'm not going to go into the whole story. You can go to the page and listen to it. But unfortunately, Jonathan had not been capturing his visitors from Facebook and putting them onto his list. Because if he did, he'd have a list that was 73,700 strong. No, 55,000 strong. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, those are all ways that we can use social media to drive engagement. Okay? Driving engagement so people are having more fun, they're paying more attention, and then let's capture them and bring them out of Facebook so that we can follow up and do business with them, outside of Facebook where things are properly done. All right, let me get a sip of water here, Zane, and tell me what other questions and comments we have.
Yeah, so the first one we've got is from 3 Steps Marketing, asking, is that the Contest Burner app FSO that came out? That would.
That is not. No, that is not. That is a Scratch and Win app by Dave Iego and Val Duvall.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. No, I saw the when I went to the Warrior event. She was walking around with her iPad and check it out and scratching it off, and it was a very engaging app. Yeah, for sure. I thought it was pretty cool.
Exactly.
Talk about Scratch and Win.
That's right, and we could put a link onto that as well.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. I'll make a note of that. And the other question is, Jason Smith is asking, can you give an example of how you can capture leads into your list with direct mail?
Unless
you're reading into the
yes,
future,
we can.
That planned.
We can, and I will go into that in a little bit at the end of the show. Let's circle back to our expert panelists and ask them their thoughts on this. Dale, what do you think? You're muted again, Dale.
There we go. Found the mouse. Found the mute. We're all good to go. Yeah, Facebook absolutely is the one of the things which is on top of my list for list building, and the story with losing all of your Facebook account, that has happened to many people, right? So having a backup system into an autoresponder is crucial, absolutely crucial, right? There are other methods to to get people onto your list as well, through opt-ins and a lot of other different methods. But the back-end system, funnel system that Steve has been mentioning is probably one of the best solutions out there in the market to actually re-engage your clients and get them back onto your list as buyers. So you can sort out your buyers and your maybe buyers and the people who are not going to buy, because you don't want to be wasting your time marketing to people if they're not ready to buy. And using Steve's system to me is probably one of the most beneficial tools that a business could have.
Well, thank you,
if you want to probably go more into that, Steve.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, and we certainly will. Oh, Zane, you took a picture. I wasn't smiling. Keith, how about you? What do you think of some of these things that we've covered? Is there something else that you've used in the past that you'd like to mention?
Absolutely, and the part here that we don't want to overlook is that when you have an email list, you are building an asset that you own that nobody can take away from you. It is vitally important, if you are on Facebook, that you capture people's email addresses. Now, I'm going to share a little trick with you guys about Facebook marketing, that once you have everybody's email list on your group, you can take that email list and then go to Facebook's ad network, import all those email addresses, and then you can start a marketing campaign targeting those individuals directly for pennies.
Nice.
Wow. That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. And on a future show, when we talk about Facebook advertising, we'll definitely bring that up. But in a nutshell, what Keith is talking about is if you bring your own list to the party, if you come to Facebook and you say, this is my list, I own this list, but I'd like to market to them through Facebook. I want to show my ad when these people are online, or I want it to be even in their news feed now. Then Facebook actually rewards you with a lower price on the advertising. So you're exactly right about that, Keith. Okay, now let's talk about what Jason asked about. Jason asked if we can give an example of how you can capture leads into your list with direct mail. Folks, one of the best ways to do it is going back to our info widget, going back to our report, going back to something of value. Okay? Sometimes we run into businesses and businesses just have not captured email addresses. And as mind-boggling as it is, it happens. Okay? But let's say they've got street addresses, because let's say they have sent out bills and invoices, or they've done service work. whatever reason, they know where people live, but they don't have their email address, then one of the best things you can do is create one of those info widgets that I talked about. Create a report. If you manufacture windows, create a report about 7 ways that new windows will save you money and protect you in your home. And then make the postcard about obtaining the report. Send out a postcard and make them go to a website and fill out an opt-in form to receive the report. And doing so is how you're going to get them to give you a valid email address. Now, one trick here, okay? Now one trick, it's a tip. You want to not just hand them the report. You want to send them the report to the email address they provided and give them a link to download it, okay? There's 2 important things there. You want to follow up with the email. The reason we do this is to make sure that they gave you a valid email address, okay? Because maybe they gave you junk@steverosenbaum.com. You want it to be a valid email address. So don't just hand them things of value. Send it to them. Now, don't send it as an attachment. People don't like getting attachments. They don't know where those attachments are coming from. Email programs don't like attachments because a lot of times viruses are included in attachments. And the reality is what we want to do is we want to put a link in there. And we want it to be a link that we can track, because we want to look at who not only receives that email and opens that email, but who actually clicks on that link and downloads and reads and consumes that report. Those calls to action are clues for us as marketers. That's how we determine who is what we call ready, willing, and able. It's the people that are taking the steps, performing the actions to actually obtain the information. Okay? Does that all make sense? Keith, what do you got on that?
Absolutely.
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud. No, absolutely. Being able to set up tasks that drive people through your funnel cultivates them as a higher quality lead or prospect, and hopefully they'll transform into a customer along that process. That's the way we do it, and it pays the bills.
Exactly right. Now let me go back to the screen share one more time. Dail actually covered this very, very well. Dail, you're a mind reader. We hadn't even shared notes, and you covered this perfectly. All right.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good job, Dail.
You're well taught, Dail. Who's your teacher, Dail?
Yeah. Do you have an affiliate link for this guy, Steve? Because I want to sign up for his program and then sell his stuff.
Well, I guess it all comes with being a certified back-end specialist. That's
Exactly.
These guys are the best and the brightest. No pun intended about being the best either. All right, so list types, obviously an email list, okay? Email is great because it's very, very efficient and effective and easy for us to track when people are consuming, okay, the marketing material that we send to them. Now, SMS text messaging that Dail also talked about is really even more effective, okay? The open rates of text messaging are a lot higher. Now, it's harder to get people onto a text message list. You really have to give away something of value because a lot of people just don't want a lot of text messaging coming to their phone. But if you're giving them something of value, something that they want, they'll do it. It's great for restaurants. A great thing for a restaurant to do would be to say, when somebody's sitting down to dinner, hey, text dessert to this phone number, and we'll give you free dessert while you're here tonight. All right, now people will do that because they'd like to have free dessert. And now, of course, you can follow up a couple weeks later and try to bring those people back into the restaurant to eat with you again. All right, direct mail, that's just sending physical mail to an address. Phone and fax are both things we can do. We can phone people. We can even automate that. And believe it or not, people still have fax machines. And it's actually very, very effective. And guess what? You don't have a lot of competition these days. If you want to fax a message to people, there's not a lot of other people doing it. So you definitely will stand out. Your message will get seen and read if you fax it these days. As long as people have their fax machine on and plugged in and paper and toner in.
Yeah. It might be. Wait, is the fax going? Is that happening right now? Yeah, you definitely get some.
Well, most faxes come these days through the email anyways.
Oh, that's true. No, good point.
Okay. And then finally, social media, subscriptions, fans, circles, whatever you want to call it. But these days, if you are segmenting and targeting, the people you're engaged with on the social media, the people that are your fans, the people that subscribe to your YouTube channel, the people that are in your Google Plus circles, now you can follow up with them and get them more messages. But once again, I will say, you want to also get them off of those places into your email list because things happen. Okay? Remember, Google owns your circle. You don't own your Google Plus circle. Google owns your Google Plus circle. So they'll let you play in the sandboxes until they want to take their ball and go home. All right. Finally, I'm sorry, Dale, were you going to say something?
Actually, that was me. I was going to circle back to the SMS text message list for just one moment. It's all about positioning. Now, if you position it to your customers that it's getting onto a VIP special list, a lot of times there's no value that they're going to have to exchange for that because they're special people. So it's all in positioning of your market.
Excellent. Thank you, Keith. All right, now finally, here are some list building tips. First and foremost, we have to capture to convert. Now what I mean by that is when you direct somebody to your website, you must capture that contact information. And the reason why is because the conversion, the sale, the monetization, whatever we are after, usually does not happen on the first visit. It usually happens several contact attempts later. All right? And of course, if we don't capture that information, there is no way to follow up. One thing that I like to say, in any event, any marketing event, any advertising event, there's three possible outcomes, right? Dale, what are the three possible outcomes?
Oh, sorry.
Or Keith, what are the three possible outcomes of any marketing message?
Yes, no, or not now.
Not now. Exactly right. So yes and no, or not now. Not now, also some people might call that maybe. Now the reality is, your biggest chance to get a future yes is from maybe. Most people treat marketing as a yes-no scenario. It's one or the other. They get their yeses, they don't get their nos, and they totally ignore the maybes. They ignore it because they don't have any back end in place. They don't have any follow-up. They don't have any nurture, or they don't have any capture. If you don't capture people, you don't have a chance with maybe. Your maybe becomes a no by default. All right? Does that make sense, everybody?
Oh yeah.
Maybe if I could mention something here with a new customer, right? If you get a new customer into your business and you immediately send them a physical letter in the mail thanking them for becoming a new customer, you have the advantage, right, where they remember the experience they've had with you, and it's easier to get them to actually to respond to what's in your letter. So if you're asking them to then go to a website to register this and that, they are more likely to do it immediately after, within 1 or 2 days of actually being to that particular store. So it's very important that if you're going to contact these people as being a new customer, you do it immediately and give them a thank you and give them a reason, and so that gives you a reason to actually communicate with them, and they're more likely to go to a website, register, or give them them your their phone number to become a VIP member. So that's a little tip, to do it immediately, straight after you make contact with a new customer.
And Dale, you said something brilliant there also, and that is follow up with people in multiple channels. If you capture that information online, or you have or you make a sale, maybe that sale happens online, or maybe it was a sale in a store or whatnot. If you follow up with them over different media, it really makes a much bigger impression on the customer. And the reality is the few businesses that are following up are almost doing it exclusively via email these days. Direct mail is very, very powerful when it's used correctly. I don't like direct mail for prospecting. I think a lot of money is wasted on prospecting with direct mail. But direct mail to follow up with a new customer is phenomenal. Sending them a thank you card, sending them a thank you gift. I have a client that he gets people to opt in just using their first name and their email address, and then he immediately says, would you like a $25 gift card? Okay, and he's already has their email address, so he's already captured them, so it's okay if they say no, because he already has them. But a lot of people say yes. And when they say yes, he takes them to a second page, and he says, okay, I want to mail you your card, and it's a physical card, so I need your address, and he asks for the phone number, and of course, if they want the card, they have to give a valid address. So now he's got a verified address for direct mail. Most of them even go ahead and give the phone number too, even though he doesn't require it. But a lot of people are used to the fact that, hey, if you're going to send me something, you need my phone number. Most people just accept that, and so a lot of times they just fill it out. So Dale, the fact that you talked about following up with a new customer and doing it by direct mail is very, very powerful. It's a great technique.
And another sneaky tip too is to try and get their date of birth, because that gives you another reason to contact them on a very special day of the year, right?
Absolutely.
And especially if you send them direct mail or an email with some sort of a gift.
Right.
It reactivates them back into your business again.
Right, and send out cards is nice for that. That's another great tip. Zane, we're going to head into the final segment of the show in a moment, so I just wanted to check a pulse with you.
Yeah, we're not getting a whole lot of questions. I wanted to put it out there to the folks that it was something that really resonated with me. I just wanted to just put it out there that does that maybe tip make sense to you guys? Because again, it really resonated with me about that leading to the back end and the importance therein. But again, there wasn't any questions. People are really enjoying what we've got so far. So let's go ahead and move into the final segment. But of course, guys, we want you guys to share the show and let everybody else know about this, because we've had some really, really great content here so far. And after we're done with this last segment, we can touch on a couple of other things. So keep it rocking, Steve.
All right. So more list building tips. Of course, we talked about capturing to convert. Earlier in the show, I talked about the use of info widgets. Info widgets can be anything from a report to an ebook. Nowadays, they could be books that you can download from Kindle, something along those lines. Videos are great. Zane, I should let you talk about this because you are the video king. But
right.
I mean, videos are very valuable, right? People assign a great value to video, do they not?
Oh, absolutely. It's also the most engaging form of media because it involves more of the senses. There's more sights, sounds, those kinds of things, and that's also what helps us retain information. Even in education.
Exactly. So earlier we had a viewer that asked us for an example of how to use direct mail to build a list. Well, what you could do is say, if you'd like to view a video about this subject matter, go to this page. And when they go to that page, don't just show them the email, or don't just show them the video. Make them opt in to view the video. Okay, that's how you build your list. All right, Dale mentioned this next tip, which is exactly right. Follow up immediately. It is amazing how many companies put something on their website for you to fill out a form and never follow up, period. Okay? So on Zapowie.com, when you fill out a form, you immediately get a follow-up response. And that response will say, thank you very much for requesting this information. Here's how you obtain that information. Please watch your email inbox for future communication from us because we've got a lot that we want to share with you. Finally, as quickly and effectively as possible, begin the process of segmenting and targeting your list. Now, what do I mean by that? If you can assign attributes to the people as they come on your list, then you can follow up and market with them differently. Okay? One of the best examples is what Dail said about a birthday. Okay? If you can segment people by the fact that they're having a birthday today or they're not having a birthday today, well, you can now send out a birthday card to the people that are having a birthday today. But you certainly don't want to send out a birthday card to everybody in your database, do you?
No.
Okay. You know, or you might ask them questions. If you have a boutique that sells clothing, maybe you want to know if they're a male or a female. If you have a business that sells windows, maybe you want to know what type of windows do they currently have. Do they have old aluminum windows? Do they currently have vinyl windows? Do they have wood windows? And why is that? Because once you know that, you can follow up with them appropriately. You can follow up with a sequence addressing all the problems with aluminum windows. Or you could send them something talking specifically about vinyl windows or wood windows. That's why you segment and target. You will get a much better response. Your people will be much more engaged when they recognize and identify that that message applies to them. Okay. Woo, that was a lot to say.
Yeah.
Keith, your final thoughts?
Well, I was going to add in another sneaky Dail trick into that, and that after you have a happy customer, that's also the best time to ask them for a testimonial or a referral and get more business for yourself, which is building your list.
3 shows ahead of me again, Keith. It's amazing. Every single time. We can only pack so much into an hour, but Keith is right on target, Keith. And we will have a show about fixing your testimonials and reviews. Awesome, awesome point, Keith. Spoken like a true back-end specialist.
Way to go, bestie.
My friend Dail, how are you? What do you think? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, look, what we've been talking about at the moment is existing customers, right, and not really expanding our potential with obtaining new customers, right, and obtaining new people on your list, right. So there are tricky ways to do that, which is, of course, will be another session, you know, on how to maximize the potential of Facebook with people sharing your information with their friends. The same as with Google Plus, LinkedIn. If you're a business, if you're a brick and mortar business, is utilizing LinkedIn to add people to your list, right? And there's other sneaky ways, which could be a full session all by itself, is buying other people's lists, right, and utilizing that. In our market, we commonly call those solo ads, where someone broadcasts information about an offer that you have, with their reputation being attached to it, right? So they're actually supporting the product that you're trying to push. Now, immediately when someone comes to your offer, you grab their email address and they become a part of your list. So there's a myriad of different other ways to get new customers, but the what Keith mentioned was spot on. To get a new customer by referral, right? They are probably they are probably one of your best customers, right? It's like the old terminology, word of mouth. is the best marketing that one could ever get, right? So word of mouth or referral marketing is very, very important. So to be able to incentivize your existing or new customers to give you a referral is virtually 100% way of getting a new buying customer, right? Because you're going off the back of someone else's reputation. I've got a couple other little notes there. Contests are another fantastic way to build your list and get new people on it, which Steve mentioned earlier. But there are several different mediums to do that. I'll just bring up my book here. And but one thing that we've probably not gone through is probably the most crucial. And when you're doing it for years, it just automatically becomes second nature, right? And the big question is, where do you store the list, right? So for a lot of people, it could very well be for a lot of people it could very well be Outlook, right? As a part of their way of maintaining their data. It could be their accounting software.
Yeah, I think Zane had a question.
Well,
Sorry.
no, I was just saying, since we wanted to keep this to 60 minutes, I was going to maybe suggest that we bring this up in part 2, maybe next week or something like that. What are you thinking, Steve?
No, I think that's an excellent idea, and you're spot on about that, Dale, too. Also, where do we get started and stuff like that? Zane, your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts were basically to encourage any of you to leave a comment, because we've got like 2 more minutes left. Maybe if somebody drops a question in, but while that happens, we've got a lot of really good bits of information here. So I would actually like to ask you, Steve, if you could bring up the different plugins and different URLs that we had mentioned before, just as a final thing before maybe someone drops a quick question before we wrap up here in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we used, I'll tell you, there are so many, and we've gone on so far. What I want to do is, I would like to take a few minutes after the show, and I will collect my thoughts. I will get all the resources, and I will put links here, but I'll also put the links at buildbigbiz.com. Every single week, we do post a recap to the show at buildbigbiz.com, and that's where we do this type of thing, so that you always know you can go there, you can get a link, you can click on it right there, and it gives us a chance to review the tape and make sure that we include everything. So I think that would probably be more appropriate to do it in that way.
Okay.
So get used to it. Visit buildbigbiz.com. Look for the post that we put up summarizing each and every show, or go see us on the YouTube channel, and we will do that as we do each and every week. Okay. Next week, we will be right back here at the same exact time. I am not going to divulge right now what the topic of our week of next week will be, because I'm working on a surprise. So you'll just have to tune in next week and figure out what that surprise is. So there. I feel like Batman. To be continued.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
All right, everybody. So I want to thank you once again for being here on the Show Me Your Backend show and the Build Big Biz Google Hangout channel. Lots of great things are happening. I'm so pleased at every week just how we keep growing and how businesses keep searching us out for information. And I love to share with our experts from around the world, Dail in Australia, and Dr. Keith in D.C., and Zane, wherever you are this week, Zane.
Yeah, Texas in general, right? There we go.
Yes. All right. Everybody, thank you very much. We will see you next week. And thanks for being here with Show Me Your Back End. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.